Good evening. Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to the Amateur Football Podcast with your host, Tabriz, the best grassroots veteran centre-back you'll ever see in your life. Please like and subscribe, do all the great stuff. I'm telling you, this thumbnail, I've never got so much engagement over a thumbnail than this one. I've had DMs, I've had WhatsApp messages, and I'm like, you know what? I can't really say anything. You know, who said what? I says, you know what? I can't say nothing because, again, that's what the platform is about. It's about people's opinions, and I always welcome people on to talk about their own truths. And I'm just here just to create a platform for that particular subject. So again, my name is Tabriz. Big shout out to Big T in the building. How you doing, sir?
I'm all good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm well. I just want to quickly shout out Bromley FC. That literally we managed to get a friendly yesterday. Wasn't the result that Catford wanted, but I want to shout out Rob, who's a goalkeeper. Absolutely huge. He's about 6'9" or something. But again, such a gentleman, and also Rich as well, quality player. And I literally wish Bromley vets well this season. How did Coolio do? Did you guys play yesterday?
No, we were supposed to have a friendly against Sagas, but it was cancelled. I'm not sure to the exact reasons why, but it was cancelled. So we've had a relatively quiet pre-season. We've been training. I haven't been training because I'm injured, but we've been training.
Okay. So let me just kind of address the elephant in the room. I mean, Seagas are in the league that you're in now, Division 2.
Yeah. Apparently so.
But apparently, you guys were promoted to Division 1. So Big T, I'd kind of love for you to actually talk about what you and the guys at Kawuya have actually been through.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a strange one. Coming to the close of last season, it was announced. In fact, it was announced. Was it on your show? I think it was your show. I'm not sure what show it was, but Nano was on a show and announced there'll be 3 teams going up, which was quickly backtracked, and he said 3 teams may go up, which was the disclaimer, but that's not what it said. And then we got communication from the league that 3 teams were going up. So there was another place to play for between us, yourselves, Seagas, and it formulated out. As I said on your show before, I wasn't kind of happy with the way it formulated out because Hollington had their issues and they had a problem that made them not be able to play the fixture, and we got the points for it, which was we wanted to play the game. Hollington wanted to play the game, but they couldn't. We got the points for it. I wasn't happy with it, but it meant we got promoted, and that's what was communicated to us via messages, is that we've gone up to Division 1. Fast forward, probably about a week and a half ago, I think we've looked at the website. I think it's called the FA Full-Time website, and we've seen that we've been placed in Division 2. So there's no communication of this, no message, no one said anything. So we've gone to the league, not me personally, but the management have gone to the league and asked what's going on, and we've been told that we was told there may be 3 places going up, but that's not the case, and we're staying in Division 2, which is a bit of a I don't know. I feel bad about it because, as I said to you before, I thought it was a bad thing that we got promoted already. I think we needed another year to kind of gel together and become the team that we can be, but we got promoted, so we had to deal with it as it came. And now it's just been changed without any communication, anything, any way that a professional body or professional structure should operate. There's been no kind of dialogue to say this is what's going on, and we've just found out via looking at the website. So been talking back and forth, and the gist of it is we are in Division 2. We're going to be in Division 2. I think it's quite a slap in the face. And I don't think it's quite a slap in the face to us. I think it's quite a slap in the face to all the teams that were vying for that 3rd place last year. I think it takes away the integrity of the league. I don't know how we are supposed to take a league structure seriously or rules and regulations seriously when things are just being changed as they go along. It seems like people are just making things up to suit their own agenda, whatever that is. So that's just where we are right now, and I'm not happy about it. Even though I wasn't happy with the promotion, I'm not happy about the way we've been treated at all. It seems there's some form of agenda against us. You know, when we play teams, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you made a team for your friend that's died. Yeah, we support you." And then when they find out we can actually play or we actually beat them, everyone's view changes. So I don't know what's going on, but the league needs to be reformed. All the leagues need to be reformed. There's been too much controversy and too much nonsense going on over the last season.
There was one word that you said a couple of times: agenda.
Yeah,
Do you actually think that the league actually has an agenda against FC Coolio?
I do. Now. I do. And if you ask me that middle of the season, I wouldn't have said so. I just would have thought things were happening. There's things that we could have tightened up on. There's things that other people could tighten up on. But now I think there's something else going on because there was a whole load of nonsense with us last year. You know, teams being kicked out of cup games and then being reinstated, and then we're going out to these teams and things like that. And it's just been a whole load of nonsense for us. I know there's other teams that have suffered from this as well, but I can't speak for other teams. I can only see what I can speak for what I see. So I think there's something going on. And as I said, I feel like everyone comes with the friendly kind of, oh yeah, we like what your team's about and what you've built it for. And then when they realize that we can actually play ball and we're actually not just here to make up the numbers, there's a change in opinion. So I don't know what's going on.
And again, you know, I can have to sit on the fence here. A lot of people could actually say, okay, well, if you don't like how the league structure is, why don't you move to another league?
If I was running the club, I probably would have done that. If I was running the club, I would have folded it and just told them to shove it. But I'm not. People think I feel like people feel because I'm like one of the senior players, and Derek, who we made the team for, was one of my closest friends, that I have a say and I'm part of the management. I'm not a part of the management. I'm the vice captain, but I'm not part of the management. I don't make any suggestions into starting lineups or how the teams run. I just what you see on the pitch is what you get with me. That's just me. So yeah, I agree with you. I fully agree with you. We should do that if it was up to me, but I don't run the team. So,
and I would say the domino effect again coming down to Division 2. How has that affected the players' morale, and how has it affected you as well personally?
It's kind of disrupted the preparation. You know, we've been preparing to, obviously, no disrespect to the teams in Division 2, but we've been preparing to step up and play kind of like the proper cup finals every week, as opposed to last season where our cup finals will be against Hollington, against Catford, against Wallingham and Seagast, for probably 4 teams. No disrespect to any other teams, but we was looking forward and preparing to play cup finals every single week, because that's how the gap is in the leagues. When you look up there, you see the competition is much tighter than it is in Division 2. The teams may be a bit more physical in Division 1 than in Division 2. But I think it's a bit disheartening, you know. It disrupts all of our pre-season, although there's been things that's been disrupting it anyway. It disrupts our pre-season and our prep, and I don't know, it just kind of throws us off a little bit. For myself personally, it's thrown me off a bit where I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to do another year of Division 2? You know, I'm not saying that we are probably one of the best teams in the league, but we're one of 3 teams that will be up there with yourselves and Segas. And I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to do all of that again? We've just gone through all of that to be given a reward and then just have it pulled right from under our feet. So I'm still sitting on the fence as to what I'm going to do, but I'm going to get myself fit anyway, to be honest with you.
So as we stand right now, there's been no communication with the league and FC Coolio in terms of why you guys are now in Division 2. There's been no communication.
So there's been a small communication. We've asked them what's going on. They've said they're sorting it. That's literally the answer we got. They're going to sort it. There was a meeting scheduled for last week, which got cancelled the day before, and now they've rescheduled it to the first week after the season starts. which is very coincidental, which is another reason why I feel there's an agenda, because there's things to sort out. How can you rearrange the meeting for a week after the league starts? It doesn't make any sense. So that's the small communication we've had. They've said they're going to sort it out, and we haven't heard anything back from them.
Do you think there's certain people on the committee that should be called out, and do you think they are kind of hiding behind that iron curtain because the league is so big within South London?
Yeah, I do. I feel there's a lot of personnel that should be called out. Probably a few months ago, I probably would have named them, but I'm a bit more at peace with everything right now, so I'll take it easy. But I feel like there's a lot of people in the league involved in the leagues, in matches, and there's a lot of conflicts of interests. And I don't see how a league can work with people. And this is not an indirect shot. It's probably an example. You probably figure out what I'm getting at. But I think it's a bit of a conflict of interest to have someone that is on the committee or deals with referees, that is a goalkeeper for a team, and that is a manager for a team in the same league. It's a major conflict of interest. If that was in a court of law, and that was a solicitor, they'd say you can't represent this person because of your conflict of interest. So that's just one example, though. I'm not saying that affects anything that goes on with the league. That's just an example I'm using. So I feel like there's a lot of people that need to be called out. The committee members, I don't even know if they know anything about football. I know it's veteran level, but I don't know if any of them actually know anything about football other than sitting down at Crofton Albion and watching from the bar, because the leagues have been run like a joke. They've been run like a joke. We pay all these money, these fees to enter these cups, and we get to a cup final and we're told to bring our own footballs. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. The bare minimum is not being done.
Would you like to see a lot more transparency regarding the finances?
110%. I want to see. I think was it John Farrell last season? He said he wants to know where the fines are going. Where's the fines going? Where's the fees going that we're paying to enter these cups? Like, if we are expected to bring at least our own footballs to a cup, why are we paying fees? Where are they going? And I think that's a lot of what we want to see. If things happen out of our control. We can't say anything about that. But be transparent with it. Provide some clarity to these teams, because I think it's the lack of clarity that's causing the issues, because nobody knows what's going on.
So as we speak right now, you are FC Korea are a Division 2 team. So we can speak openly about Division 1.
Yeah.
Where do you think FC Korea would have finished if like you guys started the season or ended the season in Division 1?
In Division 1?
Yeah.
I think we would have been top 6. I think we would have finished in the top 6. I'm gonna say I think we would have finished around 6th or 5th in that division. I'm not gonna go up there with my tail up in the air and say we'd win it, because the competition is much harder, and the teams up there are much better. But I think everyone that's played us this year, no matter whatever they think about us, they can admit that we're not a team to be slept on, and we are a team. We're a great team when we're ready. We have our off days and we have our on days, but I think if we play how we can play for a whole season in Division 1 in our first season, we could be in the mix, top 6 easily, and then push on from there.
And in your opinion, who's the favorite to win Division 1?
I think it's always going to be Charcoal. I think Charcoal, they're serial winners. There's no doubt about that. The test is whether they can deal with Hollington, because Hollington are also serial winners. But the difference is Hollington are coming up from down, and Charcoal are just at the same level. So I think that's probably the top 2 in that league. See who's going to win that league there. But obviously there's competition. Independent are no walkovers. Santos are no walkovers at all. Santos, we know a lot of them. There's a lot of family vibes there because we all grew up together. So not writing any of them off. But for me personally, I think it's Charcoal and Hollington. I think Hollington showed us exactly what they could do last year.
Would you like a merger between Div 1 and Div 2?
I think it would make sense. It would make sense with all the teams that are dropping out or giving games away. I think it would make sense to merge the two teams and then merge the two leagues, or even push some teams up into League One and then just push some down into Division 2. Get rid of a division and just create a division down there as well.
And the last time that we spoke, you could have told me very sheepishly that you had retired.
Yeah.
I'm guessing with this kind of conversation and with your hunger and desire that's not the case.
Yeah, no, I had a talk with the gaffer about my contract options, and he offered me a couple more Lucasades in the goal bonus. Yeah, but no, I said I've got one more year in me. If I can make it, I've got one more year in me. With me, I can't. I know it can sound a bit strange to people, but the person that we do this team for, Derek, he's very close to me, and he's passed away now. But I do visit his grave a lot of the time, and I have a lot of conversations with him. And that doesn't make me crazy, but I have a lot of conversations with him. And one thing that I feel he's showing me or directing me towards is saying that he needs one more from me. He just needs one more from me, and then that's it. Call it a day. So I spoke with Razor and Mo, and I said to them, yeah, Derek's telling me that he needs one more from me. So I'm gonna give you one more, but we're gonna have to manage it because my body's not the same. We're gonna have to manage it, I've got diabetes. I've got a few little niggles here, there. So I'm struggling with a few things, but I'm still here, so I'll still give what I got,
Blessings, man. And you've and again, it's kind of very and actually thank you for being very kind of honest in terms of visiting Derek's grave and literally probably having that emotional connection with Derek. I mean, how important is Derek in your life journey?
He's one of the fixtures. Even if he was still here, he'd be a main fixture in my life. He was the first person I met when I got to secondary school. When I walked through the door, he was the first person that I spoke to, and we've been friends ever since. He's very important to me. I know if people pay attention to me before a game, they'll see I've got a little ritual where I actually talk up to the sky. That's me having my little conversation with him before the game. And I do everything like he's watching, I do everything like he's watching. And he was a footballer. He played for Tooting and Mitcham. He was doing a scholarship in Texas. When he passed away, he was doing a scholarship in Texas to play out there. So I feel it's my duty to kind of carry on his dream at whatever level I can. And that's my driving force. That's my motivation. That's always been my motivation. Whether I've played in the Ryman division, the county league, whether I've got paid to do this, Derek has always been my motivation to play football and carry on.
And do you think the perception of mental health has actually changed within the Black community now from when you was younger?
100%. I'm glad it's shifted because I feel like culturally we are designed to not ask for help. By our parents when we're younger, we're told not to tell anyone our business and things like that. So that's how we're molded from when we're young. But as we get older, we see that there's no shame in asking for help. You don't lose any pride in asking for assistance or having a problem. It's okay to not be okay. And a lot of people, especially Black men now, are speaking and finding people that they confide in, seeking help from counseling, and I myself, I'm a mentor. I'm a child mentor, student mentor. So the easiest advice I can give to people is that Google is completely free. You literally just type into Google what you need and it will find it. So if you need help, if you need counseling, go on Google, look for the closest one to you and get that help, because there's a lot of people that are not here in my life through probably things they were going through and they didn't speak to people about it. But equally, there's a lot of people that are still here because they got the help that they needed. So I'm glad there's a shift in the tide culturally, and we're seeking more help and finding more things to keep us occupied, like vets football. A lot of people play vets football to have escapism, find escapism. I myself do that myself. I've had my stresses in my life, things like family issues with my kids and health. and football's a form of escapism for me.
And like for me personally, that's the reason why I don't want you to give up.
Yeah.
Because and again, like we've all bantered aside, is like we need people like you playing and representing football. And I like just fear sometimes when we've had football in our lives from from the day that we can walk, and then when like we think it's time to actually give up, what's going to be what's like going to be like the practice that's going to fill up that hole on a Saturday to kind of give us that pleasure that we need.
It's very difficult. I've stopped before for about 2 years and it was just torture, and I was young, so I imagine now it will be a bit worse because I've been doing it for so long. I played from when I was 9 till I was about 11, and I stopped and I got back into it, and I started playing semi-pro when I was 24, and I've been playing ever since. Took a year out because of my knee injury and came straight back and joined the vets. So I do things outside of football. Like obviously I gym, and I write a lot and I read a lot. So there's a lot of things to kind of fill that void, but there's nothing that will ever fill that void of football, running out on the pitch and flying into a tackle or getting barged off the ball by Tabriz.
Actually, well, you know what? I just have to say that, Big T gave me like the Heinzman maneuver. He kind of pushed his hand right in my chest, and literally I went 10 yards that way. So I thought, that can't happen. So, he bodied me first, just to let everyone know. But no, I mean, again, if you don't mind me asking, what is it that you write about?
Me, I do free writing. I do a lot of free writing. So I will literally just open my MacBook or get a paper and just write whatever's on my chest. Literally, I've written some little pieces as well about black men. I've written pieces about Marcus Rashford when he missed a penalty and he was abused. But I generally just free write things that just flow off the chest. I just make sure I get it down on paper.
And what like other strategies or like practices do you do to maintain your mental well-being throughout your journey of life?
I meditate. I meditate in the morning. I try to meditate at night, but work life has got me really tired lately. So, but I do meditate quite heavy. I do a lot of centering. I center myself. Sometimes it's just good to shut down, take down the social, turn off the telly, sit down, find your voice, whatever it may be. And I'd load my shisha pipe and just sit here in silence and listen to nature sometimes. These are all relatively new. I've recently, 3 years ago, moved out to Kent, and the environment is a lot quieter than where I used to live in Deptford. So I'm able to do these things, and I find kind of solace in them. I'm a lot more complicated than people think. I'm not the man I'm expected to be. People will get in my car. I might be giving someone a lift, and when I turn on the engine and the radio comes on, there's an audio book of Shakespeare playing, and they'll be so confused. And I'll be like, this is what I do. This is the type of stuff that I do. I'm not all Rick Ross and Lil Baby driving to football and things like that. I do different things.
And do you think that you've got to fight that perception of literally how you look to like people that don't know you? Because again, just because you listen to Shakespeare doesn't like make you any like different from like anyone else.
Yeah, I do. I feel like I'm judged on two things. I'm judged on a previous version of me. Everyone has different versions of them. Everyone lived a past life and they've done things in life they haven't been proud of. And I feel like I'm judged a lot of the time on that by people that know me. But aside from that, I feel like people look at me and think, oh, he's big guy, bald, tattoos, maybe. And it's just like, no, I'm not that. I know even people have asked me if I actually work, what do I do? So I'm like, why wouldn't I work? They're like, what do you think, I'm a drug dealer or a rapper or something just because of the way I look? So I feel like I do have that fight back perception of just like on face value, people might see a different person than what I actually am.
And if you don't mind me asking, what's the biggest regret in your life so far, and literally how did you get over that emotion of regret?
My biggest regret. I have a few. The biggest one that will probably make sense to you is something that I've recently been able to share with people, and I wasn't able to share it before because it kind of broke me down. So Derek Koya, the night he passed away, or the day before, should I say, he messaged me on. This is how old we are. He messaged me on MSN Messenger, and he wrote something. It was really cryptic, and he said, "No matter what happens, we'll be boys forever. I love you." And it was because he was in America. The time difference was I think it was very late. So I looked at the laptop and I'm like, boy, why are you messaging me at this time, man? What are you doing? And I literally just closed it, bang, went to sleep. And I think a few hours later, I was the first person in England to get the call that he'd passed away because they didn't have his house number. So they called me at the time to get the number. And I think not responding to that message is probably one of my biggest regrets in life, because I think everyone can see how much he means and how much I cared for him. But I felt like he never got to know that because I never replied to him that night. So that's probably my biggest regret to date, not replying to that message.
And getting that phone call that Derek had passed away, how did that? I know it's a stupid question, but how did like the first couple of minutes or couple of hours make you feel?
No, it's not a stupid question. It's a great question because I'm still doing therapy for his passing and other things. So reliving is part of the tactics that we do, the coping mechanisms that we do. And this is something I haven't actually thought about, but I think the first minute I thought it was a joke at first, because the person that phoned me was an actual joker, and I thought it was a joke. And when I realized it was just I couldn't explain it. It's like I don't know. Like, I know you've got children, when you have that first child and someone says, I can't explain it, the feeling. I know the feeling, but I can't explain it. That's exactly what it was. I couldn't explain the feeling. And I had to call my other friend, and then we had to go and sit with his mom at the same time. And I think that was probably my first experience of death, my first closest experience of death. So it was all new to me. And I definitely, I wasn't regulating my emotions, but I wasn't knowing what to feel at the same time as well. But it was very surreal. I was in bits. I remember I literally screamed out in my house. I was young. We was only 21. And I screamed out, and my mom came and she sat with me and she held me. And then I had to pull myself together because I had to go and sit with his mom. And this was the early hours in the morning. So yeah, it was a very surreal moment. It was something that I didn't think I'd have to experience at such a young age, you know. Losing a friend, you know, one of my closest, probably my closest friend at the time. Yeah, so that's I really didn't have a word for the feeling, but I know that it was definitely a feeling of a surreal moment.
Did that situation question your life and literally where like your life could like possibly go if, you know, if like certain things were happening at that present moment for you?
Yeah. I questioned my life a lot. There was a lot of kind of after effects of that, because he passed away in his sleep. And we used to train. Well, we used to not train, but we used to do everything together. So if he'd go out, I'd go out. If he'd go for a jog, I'd go for a jog. And whatever he'd eat, I'd eat as well. So I'd be lying there thinking, is it something that we both did? Is this going to happen to me next? I'd just be questioning it all the time. And my therapist knows this as well, but it's something I'll share with you because not a lot of people know this. I didn't sleep more. He died in 2007. I didn't sleep more than 6 hours until 2013 because I was scared to go to sleep. I think not physically scared, but psychologically, I was scared to go to sleep. And I needed therapy for that because I thought maybe if I go to sleep, same thing's going to happen to me. Which led to a whole host of other things. Definitely was out of my character. I was definitely in depression. I didn't understand at the time what depression was, but looking back now, I can see that I had gone into a deep depression. And like you said, now we're talking about these things, but back then I was 21. I was on the street. I was talking to this girl, that girl, and I wasn't seeking help. I was just, I think it's called compartmentalizing or something like that. I was doing all of that, just going out, living my life, and not knowing that I needed to get these things off my chest because it was breaking me down inside, you know.
Do you think it's our kind of cultural and like traditions that like we can't talk to members of families like mum and dad, because there's a there's a kind of stereotype of black men, especially like the size of you and the size of me, like we are like meant to hold everything down,
like a stigma. I do feel like I think it was different for me because I had my mum until I was about 6. So my mum was always there, and I could always talk to my mum about everything. But definitely around the family, there was a sense of stand up strong, man up. That phrase was thrown around a lot, man up. And it's like when you get to this age now, and you think to yourself, what does that actually mean, man up? Because it doesn't mean that you're not a man if you sit there and cry. It doesn't mean you're a man. You're not a man if you go and ask for help. So yeah, I think I definitely had to, because I've looked like this since I was 19. So everyone always thought that I'm a big strong man. I don't feel emotions. I don't and I'm very in touch with my emotions. I feel a lot of emotions. I'm a very emotional person. I'm very in touch with my emotions. I'm very caring and things like that. So yeah, I've had to deal with that a lot. But as I said, I'm glad the tides have shifted now, and a lot more people are speaking up about things they need assistance with.
Again, please correct me if I'm wrong. You spoke about your mum in past tense.
Oh no, she's still here.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
But there's another form of trauma there. I think 2022 she collapsed. We was at a surprise birthday party and she collapsed. She had a cardiac arrest, and I myself had to start CPR.
Oh my gosh!
With a few family members, and the best thing out of the bad situation is she collapsed in a room full of midwives, so they all know CPR, they all know everything, so they've put her in a recovery position, everything. She had to be defibrillated, and she was shocked once and came straight back. But she had to have a heart surgery, heart bypass, and took her a while to recover, but she's back on her feet now, working, training, walking, doing everything. She's working in a school now. So that was another thing that I was dealing with. And that's another thing that I used vets football to kind of get over, because I was just entering vets football when this happened. So yeah, it's another trauma in the storybook of Tyrus.
And again, I kind of look on your kind of socials, and we kind of joked off air that every time I see you, like you are either dressed to the nines, you're either like parasailing or you're doing this, but it's also as well, you are very close with your family. You are very close, with your kids, and how actually important is it, with your family unit? I mean, I'd actually love to kind of get your insight.
I think it's the most important thing in the world, to be honest with you. I think it is your family. Having good people around you is important, but having your family there is the most important thing, because I've always been a believer of, once everybody turns their back on you, it's only going to be family that's left, So, and I've lost a lot of people. I've lost a few family members as well. And I feel like I didn't spend enough time that I should have with them. So like Derek, for instance, me and Derek have only got 2 pictures together. So now people will say, oh, you're addicted to Instagram, you're always taking pictures. And I'm like, yeah, I want to take pictures because I want to document everything, because we're not going to be here forever, you know. And I want to make sure that I'm with this person. I spend my time with that person, or whatever. But for me, family is the most important thing. They are the centering, the grounding that you need in this life. And it's not always a bed of roses. You can't, some family members, you can't pick your family. Some of them you can't pick. You know, I've had a few family members and I've looked at them and I thought to myself, I just love to bust your head, man. But you know, we can't pick our family, but they're still our family at the end of the day. And I think it's the most important thing to surround yourself with them as much as possible, because they're the ones that's always going to be there for you, always.
What's like being one of your biggest highlights in your football career and also in your journey of life?
Football career, I think I made a promise to my mum's mother, because we used to sit down. We always used to sit down and watch the Manchester derby for some weird reason. She never watched football, but she just watched the Manchester derby, and she always used to. We would sit there and she'd be like, "Yeah, Manchester beat up Manchester," and all of that. So I said to her one day, "I'll give you my word. I'm going to get my name on Sky Sports for you. That's the one promise I'm going to make." And I wasn't able to do it before she passed away, but I did it. Just on when I used to play the Ram and Prem. I got my name on the video printer, you know, when they used to do the scores at the bottom. Yeah. So for me, because I made that promise to her, that was my biggest achievement in football. And I'm glad I was able to fulfill that for her. I think in life, my biggest achievements are my children. My son, my daughter, I have a bit of difficulty seeing her, so I don't really see her that much. But she changed me a lot when I had her. She changed my whole perspective on everything, you know. And I had my son first. He's now 17. He's you wouldn't believe it. He's bigger than me. He's wider than me.
Don't lie.
He's wider than me. Wow. He's 6'1". I'm only 5'11". So yeah. But and he's a stand-up guy, man. His mum has done so well with him. He's got so much manners. He's such a nice young boy. My daughter changed my life. I think when I had my daughter in that moment, I was a bit wild. I was a bit carefree. I wasn't willing to compromise anything. And I was just living my life. And she came along and I just saw everything differently. I had a different level of respect for people. Or I didn't get it straight away. I gained a different level of respect for people. And I saw things differently because I realized that these little people are watching. They're part of me and they're watching. So things that I'm doing, I have to clean up my act, I have to do things properly, by the book, as much as I can. Nobody's perfect, but I wanted to try and make the change because I had these little people watching me. So that was, I think that is the biggest achievement in my life for my kids. Children, should I say.
And if I could be kind of very, very detailed here, what was it that you had to change when your daughter was born? Like, I would love to get, life examples.
Insert. For one, how I treated women. I think I can't use the word on the broadcast that I was. But I was a misogynist. I was quite bad with women. I used to use them for what I wanted to use them for and just carry on with my day and not take into consideration their feelings or how I'm hurting them. And then I had to realize that one day my daughter's going to grow up and she's going to meet a man. And if he treats her even half the way I've been treating women, I'm going to kill him. So I had to make that change. That was one change. She changed my work ethic. I've worked every day since I was 15, but I've never been driven by work. I've always been driven by money when I was younger. And when she came along, I kind of changed my moral compass. And I realized that what my reward for working is what they can see, is what they will see. So they will see daddy working. It doesn't matter if he's got money or whatever. They'll see him working for something. So they will have that in their kind of setup to know that we've got to go out and work for stuff. Stuff's not going to drop on my lap. We've got to work for it. So that was another thing that kind of changed when she came along. I feel like she saved my life. I think that she did, because I was living very incorrectly, very, very incorrectly. And I'm not perfect. I'm still not perfect. I don't think anybody will ever be, but I've definitely made changes that, and people can see that. People always point it out to me, which is quite, I don't need approval from anybody, but it's quite refreshing to see that people can see the changes that I've made, other than myself.
And what type of education do you think men of our generation, especially Black men, need to still learn about?
I feel like we just need to. I feel like we just need to be taught that one thing I've been big on, and I know it sounds a bit like I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but it's not. I'm not big on these slavery films. I feel like every film that we see that's got Black people in it has got slaves and drug dealers and things like that. And I feel like as Black men, we need to be taught that we come from royalty. We're kings. We are kings of this, you know. We are taught to be the breadwinners. We're taught to be the guys that stand up straight and hold things together. And we need to realize that we're capable of doing this. But I feel like we also need to know that because we are expected to do all of this, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be in touch with our feelings. You know, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't hurt, or we shouldn't feel, or we shouldn't cry sometimes. I feel like we need to be taught that a lot, because there's still a lot of work to do. There's a lot of men out there that will have a disagreement with someone, and none of them are backing down, or none of them are willing to converse or talk, and a simple conversation could sort the issue. So we need to kind of learn a bit of humility, a bit of humanity between us. You know, I'm not saying there isn't instances where it's the only option. Sometimes you want to talk, and people ain't listening, and you just lose it. There's always a line. Everyone has a line. But before you get to that, it's important for us to kind of try other methods rather than just throw our fists. So I'd like to see Black men being empowered more to understand their feelings.
And what advice could you kind of give to the younger generation regarding protecting their mental health, stroke, well-being, and how can people actually contact you individually to actually learn more?
Well, you can contact me on Instagram. That's the only social I use, and that is at BIG big_Tibbs TIBBZ. For my young people, when I do speak to them in a one-to-one or a group situation, I say to them, plain and simply, find the help, seek the help that you need. If you feel something is off, speak to someone about it. I'm working a boys' school, but I encourage the boys in the school that have their fathers in their life to talk to their fathers, because they've done everything that you are doing or planning on doing before. So they've made the mistakes, so you don't have to. So speak to them about it. Speak to them and let them know what your issues are and whatever. But if it's young people that really genuinely need help, I give them the Google advice. Google is completely free. Just literally say what you want to do and type it out. I need help. I'm going through a mental episode breakdown. Sorry, there's a moth. A mental episode or breakdown or whatever. Type that in word for word, and whatever you need will come up. And you click on the first one you see and get the help that you need.
And Tyrus, man, honestly, thank you so much for sharing. And probably just reverting back to football, my last question is, where do you think you're going to finish in Division 2?
Top two. But we'll go for top 3 because they might free up.
Well, I'm actually sure I can probably get a few members of the committee onto the show to address a few issues that yourself and probably other teams have experienced.
Yeah, I hope they're truthful though. I hope they're very truthful, because their integrity is at stake.
Wow, so. You've heard it first. Big T, honestly, thank you so much for coming on and and not like, you know, only being honest regarding the career situation, but kind of also talking about your like life and story. Thank you so much.
No problem. No worries. Thank you very much for having me.
People, again, if you kind of like what you've heard, please go and find Tyrus on Instagram. I think is it big_tips?
Yeah, big_tips.
Yeah. And again, if you're kind of not sure about the profile, he's always dressed in a suit, skydiving, jet skiing, weightlifting. You know, that is a guy that you have to look for. So again, big like shout out to like Big T. And again, it's going to be an absolute battle for the league in like Division 2, which we will talk about in the next stream. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week Sunday.